Hello guys, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today we're doing an apartment. We're doing one of the what would be the word I'm looking for? Unupgraded. Is that a word? We're gonna go with it. An unupgraded apartment in the eco lifestyle world, which I believe is called Evergreen Harbor, but I've just had a total brain slip on that one, so bear with me. I will fully admit to you, this apartment was me completely self-soothing. I had no plans. I didn't go in with any sort of aesthetic or design. I was like, I just want to put together a cute apartment that I would like living in, because the day that I built this, the lunch break that I built this on, it's actually 2 lunch breaks, but the lunch break I started this on, we actually had an earthquake. It was a super teeny one. It was not a big deal. And as someone who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, I am not wholly unaccustomed to the idea of the ground moving underneath me. I don't like it. I don't think I know anyone who does like it. I studied geology for a brief moment, so I understand why the ground's moving. Doesn't make it suck less. Doesn't make it suck any less. Was not a fan. I moved out of the Pacific Northwest, not specifically because earthquakes, but it was a perk. And I swear to you, we have had just as many, if not more, since I've moved. And I'm like, what is this? I moved to a place that was not earthquake prone. But the point is I was super keyed up, and this entire build was me just being nah man, I just want to build whatever I want. I just want to play Sims. I just need to unwind, because the whole rest of the day, every time a large truck went by or the train went by, I was like, oh my gosh, is it happening again? And I was the only one home, which is fine, except it was me and the dogs in the house. And so we went and stood in the doorway, which the dogs were like, what on earth is happening? And then I had this freak out moment, because I live on the side of a valley. And so I had this freak out moment where I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's the hill coming down? What if it's the edge coming down? I was like, what if this isn't an earthquake and I need to leave? And so then I was like, I went running, kind of after it ended, and was like, well, the house didn't get hit with rubble, so we're fine. So yours truly was a full panicked mess for this entire build. And that was the whole inspiration behind why nothing in this house matches or anything, or in this apartment, was just because I was how would I decorate it if I actually lived here? I just want to build what I want to have here. And literally what I wanted was the exact way my real life space is decorated, which is just I saw something cute, it was in my price range, I got excited, I purchased it, I didn't think about how it would look in the rest of the house, and everything's just a little misfitty. That's how I live. It's technically a 1-bedroom because the wall changes here, but I did make it a studio. It is open. I just thought that made sense in this space, because it's kind of a small space, and it meant that the big windows in the bedroom could let the light into the rest of the apartment. So I was like, well, a studio it is. Because I was trying to do a different layout than what I've seen in this apartment. This apartment, I think, could be a 2-bedroom, but it would be kind of cramped. And I was like, it's a fun 1-bedroom. And if you did it right, I didn't, but if you did it right, it could be a nice little starter place. It's a nice sized apartment without being too small. There's room to grow. You could put hobby things and stuff in here, and it would be pretty good. So I did enjoy that. And it's very sort of pastel and light without being kind of in your face. It's very sort of I don't know, it screams first apartment to me. I really enjoyed it. My goal originally was to do a color theme, and you'll see I start in the kitchen, and I was like, maybe I'll do a color scheme off the kitchen. Well, then I picked the yellow cabinets, which you'll see here in a bit, and I was like, okay, well, now I picked the yellow cabinets. I can't do a whole yellow apartment, although that would be fun. I thought about doing one of the single color challenges recently, but I was like, that could be fun. And then I was like, well, I don't really want to do all yellow. So my goal just became cute colors that go with the yellow kitchen. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Amanda, you wouldn't paint the cabinets yellow if you lived in an apartment, if you were renting. But you could contact paper them. Yellow. I've seen a lot of people do that. And your landlord might be cool, and it's The Sims. And I experienced an earthquake again, so I don't care. That was my excuse for everything for a week. I was like, I had to deal with an earthquake. I can do whatever I want. Which, to be fair, a lot of people were, and it was so funny too, because the people who lived in my house, 2 of them were out running errands, and 1 of them was at work. So they were all in vehicles at the time, moving vehicles. So none of them were aware it happened, and they all believed me, but they were all like, what on earth are you, on about? And then my cousin, who lives like a while away, was like, did you feel that? That was insane. And I was like, I know. So there you go. There's my story of woe. You also might notice for the first time in a while that my chair isn't squeaking. And that is a good news, bad news situation. The good news is the chair isn't squeaking anymore. The bad news is because it completely fell apart. Yeah, you may have heard the story already if you watch the Minecraft videos as well, but basically the SparkNotes version of that story is last weekend for me. It'll be a while ago for you by the time you see this. My chair had been squeaking and making like I'm gonna fall apart noises for a while, and I was like, okay, I am gonna just tighten everything again, WD-40 everything again, because I had done this and I hadn't found any issues and it was still making I'm gonna fall apart noises. So I kind of doused the thing in WD-40. I was like, something is unhappy. Something is rubbing against something in a weird metally way. So let me just like kind of douse the whole thing in WD-40. Which, I don't know, made sense to me. So I did. Oops, sorry, I just bumped you. And unfortunately, well, it did stop the squeak, to clarify. But the next day I went to sit down and it made like a really awful noise. And then the like gas cylinder thingy deflated because I'd been sitting up a little higher. I was like, oh no, did I break it? Oh no. And it raised back up. So I was like, okay, I don't know what that was about. And then like a little while later, I went to adjust a little bit and it like flopped forward really violently. And I was like, uh-oh. And like some of the welds had broken the pole from the plate. I was like, oh shoot. And then I kind of like looked online and was like trying to figure it out. And I was like, maybe I can fix it. If I can just make it to the weekend with this chair, I can probably fix it. And then the next day, it completely fell apart in such a catastrophic way that I had to have help because I got like pinned up under the desk by it. It was fantastic. It was a good moment. It's a very good moment. So unfortunately, despite my best efforts, the chair is no longer with us. I don't know what would have caused all of the welds around the pole bit to fail. It's pot metal. It's not very strong. But I'm also not like an exceedingly heavy person. I'm 5 foot tall and about 30 pounds heavier than I should be. So like you can imagine I don't weigh a ton, all things considered. Like I weigh more than I should, but not. I was nowhere near the weight limit on this chair. The weight limit on this chair was 250. Nowhere near. Well under. Like under half. Well under half. We're fine, you know? Well, not well under half. Actually right around half. Either way, I can do math. It's fine. Point is, I was nowhere near the weight limit for this thing. So I don't know why it broke. I'm not even a fidgeter, really. I fidget more than I should, but no more than like a normal human, so I don't understand why this chair broke. But that's why you're not hearing the squeaking now. I didn't, in fact, fix it, unless you consider catastrophically breaking it somehow, fixing it. So if you have any good chair recommendations for me, hopefully by the time you're seeing this, I will have figured out and bought a new chair. Everyone has opinions, which I appreciate, and I love that so much. Like, I've asked my coworkers, I've asked my friends, I've asked some people I know who are like in the same industry as me, and a lot of people have really good suggestions on chairs. The thing I'm finding is that a lot of people are willing to commit to a chair and spend lots of money on a chair, and that is really, really cool for them. Really, really happy for them. I am not willing to spend that kind of money right now on a chair because I don't really know what I want out of my office yet, you know? Like, it's in a constant state of flux. So I'm looking at like $200 chairs, and they're talking like $2,000 chairs, and I'm like, I'm not in the market to spend like an entire month's pay on a chair right now. Not only do I think that'd be foolhardy, that just scares me a little bit. So, you know, if you know an affordable but nice chair, maybe not a lifelong partner chair, but maybe like a, you know, with me for a few years chair, I'd appreciate it. Let me know, you know. I love the way this wall turned out. I love this so much. I love this so much. Words cannot describe to you how happy I am with how this gallery wall turned out. I adore this gallery wall because, for those of you who aren't familiar with the picture in the middle, that's the TV. I know! It turned out so cool. I'm so happy with it. I'm sorry if I just peaked for headphones users. I got really excited and shouted a little bit. And also I could hear people outside laughing at me because they could hear me, which is great. I don't care. I was so pleased. So the TV is from Modern Luxe. The pictures on the right-hand side are a cute little gallery from, I believe, Pastel Pop. And on the left-hand side, I believe those were all base game photos. Photos? Pictures. Same thing. And it turned out so cute. It turned out so cute. That is my favorite part of this whole apartment. And I love this whole thing. This whole apartment is completely my jam. It is completely my jelly. It is full on my marmalade. I love this apartment. But my favorite part is how this gallery wall turned out. Because it doesn't look like a TV, but then you turn it on and it's a TV, and I'm so happy. And like the colors match. The vibes are like nice. Love it. And it like matches the kitchen because it's yellow flowers. It turned out so cool. I'm so happy. And I stuck plants everywhere because if I was decorating, I would have plants everywhere. I don't have plants everywhere in my room right now. And the only reason for that is I have a smaller window and a northern facing exposure. So plants are super unhappy in here. Plants are kind of super unhappy in this house, and I haven't figured out why. I had no problems growing plants the last place I lived. Last two places I lived, actually. No problems growing plants. And I have no problem with the garden here. Like, I can get a really good garden going, can grow planter beds and stuff. Look crazy. No big deal. In this house, plants hate it. Don't know what it is. I cannot keep. I kept a poinsettia alive for about a year. I kept, I've managed to keep the one cactus, the one succulent guy alive now for like, I think he's going on 2 years, but that's it. Everything else wants to die out here. Like, and things I've never struggled with before, like spider plants and stuff, those are easy. It's not a plant that attracts spiders. It's a plant that kind of looks like a spider because it's like spindly and leggy. It's really pretty, actually. I'm not describing it well. And like, I don't get it. I don't know. I think it's just, we like get a lot of like ambient light, but we don't get a lot of sunlight in the house, I think is maybe the problem. I don't know. But if I had my druthers, I would have more plants in the house. I guess I should say, knock on wood, we do have one plant that has hung around for a really long time. My parents, when they got married, they had these really pretty like cornflowers, I think that's what they're called, at their wedding on each side of the altar. They're really pretty. And they kept one, and one went to someone else. I can't remember who. But they kept one, and they named her Bliss, and she is now, let me think, 34 years old? She's bloomed twice for us. She bloomed once when we lived in the Pacific Northwest, and she's bloomed once since living here. And let me tell you, she smells divine when she blooms, but you can smell her from miles away. I don't know what it is about this particular flower. It is a pungent flower, but it is so pretty. It's like all white and kind of cascadey. Beautiful plant. But apparently they only bloom like once a decade, which it kind of makes me think it's not a cornflower plant. Kind of makes me think it's something else, because it's literally bloomed like once a decade. But they're really pretty. And she stayed alive for a while. Her biggest thing that she's mad about right now is she wants to be tall, and she's hit the ceiling height. And where she used to live, she lived in vaulted ceilings, so it wasn't such a big deal. She could just kind of keep going. But now we don't have a vault. And so I'm trying to get her to grow up into the, what do you call them when they're, like the things where it's like a window but in your roof? I have failed. I cannot remember what these are called. We're letting her grow up into that, because we have one of those in the living room. But she's still like, she's not quite happy with it. She's like, this is not what I wanted though. I just want to be tall. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, girl. There's not a tall roof in this house. So she's just gotta be happy growing into I keep wanting to call it a sunroof, but that's a car thing. But it's the same thing, but in a house. What is it called in a house? Oh no. Oh well. You guys know what I'm talking about. I struggled with what to do dresser-wise because I didn't want matchy-matchy in here, but I thought purple was nice. I think I do end up going matchy-matchy in here, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I think the decorations break it up enough. I love purple. I love purple quite a bit, but I'm not a huge purple in the bedroom kind of person, and I'm not particularly a huge this purple fan, but I liked it in this house because this house was so light and bright. You can see me trying to introduce some other colors, pulling from the bedspread and stuff, and making it look a little bit like found pieces instead. But yeah, this sort of like not quite pastel purple, not my most favorite, but I think it works really well in this house, and I'm glad I got to use it, and with the decorations and stuff, it ended up working out pretty good here. And it makes it just kind of a nice light space. I went really light with most of the wall coverings, so you could play with a little bit of these, like, I don't even want to call it a deeper tone. It's like a muted purple, but muted isn't even quite, you know what I'm talking about. You can see it on screen. And I will say, there are different, I talk about this almost every build, there are different hues to different monitors. I do like it better on the other monitor. I like build on one monitor and edit on the other. I don't know why I do that. And sometimes I'll like really love a build and I'll go to edit and I'm like, what happened? And sometimes I'll be like meh on a build. I'm like, this is cool, but it's not like my favorite. And I'll put it like on the editing monitor and I'm like, holy, I like this build a lot. Lighting, man. Lighting and tone changes everything. Changes everything. I think that's why I like Disney Dreamlight Valley as much as I do. Like, not that it's a bad game, but it's kind of a reskin of a few games that we have are very similar. It does some unique things, but I mean, it's not particularly like groundbreaking in its genre other than being Disney. But the lighting in that game is gorge. It is gorgeous, and I think that's why I keep going back to it, especially in the evening times. I'm like, I love the sunsets in that game. Sims has some pretty good sunsets. In my personal gameplay, I've taken to having my Sims take up photography just enough that they can go take landscape photos, and then that's how I decorate the houses. Been enjoying that. Been trying to figure out how I can do that with these speed builds. Maybe having like a dedicated photographer sim in this save would be good, because I have like YouTube save, and then I have personal save. That way when I'm building, my personal sims aren't like off being hooligans, off being complete hooligans. I don't know. Yeah, and then I put a little beam in here because I thought it gave it a little bit of separation, but see how much light those big windows let into the main space? Even though it doesn't look like it, there is like a flood of light that I think helps. And there's just like this, there's a different feel. You're not like, I don't even know how to describe it. You're not caged in as much. You really get to use those big windows without, and it is kind of interesting because, yes, theoretically that means people could look into your bedroom, but that's what curtains are for. But it also means like when you're living your life out and about in this main space where you're probably spending most of your time, I would imagine, people aren't looking in quite so much, a little bit harder to see. There's no desk in this space. If I was playing in this space with a starter sim or sims, I'm assuming you're probably having a couple or a single person. You're probably not having a huge family in here. So what I would do, because that dining table is a 4-seater and you probably only need 2 most of the time, is I would just put a laptop out there. And that can be your work area. I worked at a dining table for many years. It's completely fine. And then if you have your sim decides to have guests or something, you can just pull the laptop somewhere else or stick it in their inventory and it'll be fine. You just have to kind of watch them so they don't do something dumb with it. My sims like to lose laptops. I don't love it. They'll get like a $3,500 laptop or whatever the like Strangerville laptop price is, and they'll be like, yeah, but I left it on a park bench. And I'm like, how did you think that was cool? You know, how did you forget a hugely expensive article like that? I don't know, but maybe that's just me and like my anxiety levels talking. When I was in school and I used to take my laptop with me, my laptop would leave my backpack as the last thing to get pulled out, and it would be like the first thing to be put away. I was never that girl who could be like, hey, watch my stuff real fast. Freaked me out. I would pack everything up. I would be the girl who would watch your stuff. I can't tell you how many times I would get the, hey, can you just watch my stuff for a second? Yeah. I don't know what I was gonna do if someone actually came and took the stuff. Like if someone actually came and was like, I'm just gonna take this up. I fight them? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know what I would have done. I probably yelled at them at least. Been like, hey, fight me. And then while they were laughing at me, you know, dealt with it. I don't know. But I watched a lot of people's stuff. I was always too chicken to have somebody else watch my stuff. That's not entirely true. I had friends, like when I made like lifelong friends, you know, kind of thing. When I had like buddies that I knew really well, then I would leave my stuff with them occasionally. But like I was never just like a, hey, random human, watch my stuff. And a lot of people would do that. And a lot of people, and I mean, we're all in it together, right? So like 90% of the time, your fellow students are your allies and stuff, and that makes sense. But like, I don't know, man. Not this little gray duck. I don't know. I was always too chicken. I love the flooring in this apartment, going back to the build. I thought it really warmed it up, and I liked having the, like, I love those Home Chef Hustle tiles, and I could imagine them being peel and stick, so I was like, that's a good idea. I wanted so badly to make this big plant curtain work. It was simply not going to work the way I wanted it to, unfortunately, and I've been having issues with curtains in general, so I was like, I could layer them, I could fight with it, but it's gonna disappear anyway. So I kind of got to the point where I was like, do I care? You know? I've been having issues with curtains disappearing, and I've been having issues with like random kitchen appliances disappearing. Like I will play and then I will come back and it'll just be like, your fridge has disappeared. And I'm always like, I'm not gonna make my sim rebuy that. So weird thing, a little bit of a thing I should have talked about at the beginning. You can replace almost all the windows in this. You cannot replace that little square window. Not sure why. That one just lives there. So that is still a window you can't replace. I'm assuming it's because it upgrades, although the other windows upgrade. Also, because these apartments upgrade, I don't know what's going to happen to the windows when you upgrade the building. I don't want to promise they'll stay. I haven't played with that. I don't know. So what I would do is, if you're going to end up upgrading your building, maybe take screenshots of how you have your windows so that you can replace them, you know, if you liked them. I struggled for forever with these lights and trying to decide what lights I wanted and whether I wanted them to match or whether I wanted them to be all different. I think I ended up going with the pink finally, but boy, did I think about it. That's been a trend lately in my builds, is there will be one or two things where I truly cannot decide. Like, truly cannot figure it out. I think I go with the pink on these because I think I tried to pull in the pink from the tiles a little bit. But it took me a while. Like, this was sped up for you, but this was like a decision. I like ate my lunch over this decision. The other one that I fought with today, which you won't see that build for a while, was I went back and forth on a kitchen like 12 times. Like, I got to record my entire 30-minute lunch break, and I think probably 22 minutes of that was me going back and forth between two colors of cabinets. It was dumb. I was like, I'm gonna have to cut all this footage out. I couldn't, and I'm still not sure. I'll be honest with you, I'm probably gonna go back and change it 4 or 5 more times. But yeah, I really like how this apartment turned out. It feels pretty realistic. It feels really cozy. And it feels like somebody's like, I just got my first job in the city, I'm taking care of myself, I'm doing my thing, but like, I don't maybe necessarily have like the best of everything, so I've made the best of everything, you know, like I've contact papered the kitchen, I've put cute bedding in, I've like adultified some of my like dorm room furniture, and some of it I found new, and some of it I've, you know, picked up off the street and then quarantined because bugs, you know, that kind of thing. And then the bathroom is pretty plain. I'm very uninspired with bathrooms right now, and to be honest with you, a lot of times in apartments, I'm like, well, it would be whatever the builder put in, probably, or whatever the landlord put in. You're not probably going to customize the tar out of a building, out of a bathroom, you know. It is a wet bath. I've been doing that lately just because it's kind of easy. So it's more of like a Japanese style where like the whole bathroom is the shower. In real life, you would have a way to like cover your toilet paper, cover your things, so like your toilet paper and stuff wouldn't get wet. The Sims doesn't take that into account, so we're just gonna pretend that the water only goes where it goes. We're gonna pretend there's no such thing as humidity and your toilet paper wouldn't be wrecked every time you turn on the shower. We're just gonna pretend it's fine. Fun fact, I think that's the first time I've ever made that mirror work, and I love it, but I've never been able to make it work anywhere else. So I was really excited to get to use it in here. I don't know how that would work in real life, in terms of like actual like checking your makeup and stuff and that. I don't know, it's kind of a weird shape, but I adored it. Here I fought for 20 minutes to put a magazine on the smaller one because that little guy is sized down, but I love the way that looks. I wish we had a way, I wish the slots sized down too, not the slots sizing, but like I wish they stuck to the model. I understand the coding behind that, the mathematics behind that would be absurd, would be supremely crazy, but I would love that. That would make my life so much easier. Please and thank you. Also, I know this is an old tune, but man, it would be nice if we had more slots on things. Like sometimes I go into Sims 4 Studio and I just add slots to things. Well, sometimes you have to go into Blender too, but I'm really terrible at modeling, so I don't often open Blender. I mostly recolor things and like add slots to things because those are Amanda friendly things. When you start having to think in a 3D space, I enjoy it, but I'm not very good at getting what's in my head out onto paper. So here's the apartment. Here's the apartment that was inspired by me just wanting to basically sell Sooth in The Sims. I can't be the only one who does that. I hope you like it. I really love it. I was really surprised with how it turned out. When I started with the yellow kitchen, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, because I love a yellow kitchen, but it's polarizing. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So these are the screenshots. I'll let you go ahead and enjoy. I took about 1 million screenshots, so you know, from every angle. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you here. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you get to come hang out. You make the world a better place just by being you. And I'm excited you're around. Next up should be a Minecraft build if I'm still on schedule. And then the next Sims build will be about a week from now. And yeah, I will talk to y'all later. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.